On my latest visit to my friend Will's house, he purchased Tomb Raider on PS3 and I spent a good amount of time watching him play it. I was never a huge fan of the previous Tomb Raider games, especially the PS1 versions. The one PS2 game that I played, which I can't remember the name of, wasn't awful, but still not the greatest game in the world. But this one, considered a reboot, really got me interested in it. So a few weeks after I got back to my place, I bought it and I played it, intent on reviewing it. And so here we are. Tomb Raider still stars Lara Croft, but an earlier version of her. This game aims to show how she earned all of her survival skills, and it does a very good job of it. The game starts with Lara and her crew on a ship named Endurance, trying to find an island named Yamatai. This island is shrouded in mystery, as it's been said that the ancient queen of the island, named Himiko, was able to call forth storms. Of course, the Endurance hits one of these storms and ends up shipwrecked on Yamatai, although they don't realize it at first. Lara is separated from the rest of her crew, and here's where the game begins properly. Her first task is to find her cohorts and find the mystery of the island, all while finding a way to escape the island. It's not as easy as it may first seem, but that's the fun of the game, and it really does engross you in quickly, right from the start. You will want to keep playing just to find out what happens next. The game as a whole feels much like one of the Uncharted games. Lara needs to traverse the island, and oftentimes go back and forth between areas. Much like the Legend of Zelda games, there are areas that will be off limits until you obtain new gear, like a climbing axe or a rope that gets attached to your arrows. You'll need to remember where you need to backtrack for stuff like this, as the game will tell you you need new gear to pass this point. But there is a fast travel system, so I'll talk about the campsite feature next. Basically, as Lara explores a huge island, she'll come across various campsites. There are two types. One is the larger campsite, while another is pretty much just a small, dinky little fire. The smaller ones act as a checkpoint, or allow you to upgrade Lara's skills, but lack the fast travel option. However, the bigger ones give you that feature. You can fast travel at any time, as long as you've previously gotten to the campsite you want to travel to. You may ask why you need to fast travel, so let me explain. I'll lead into this by saying that the island is massive. You'll really be engaged in it, as there is a lot to explore, which is where the fast traveling really comes in. There are a ton of collectibles that you can find for XP. They range from GPS caches, which don't give you a ton, but function as a collectible regardless, to item boxes that give you salvage and even relics that give you even more XP. There's a lot of stuff to find, and so a lot of XP to earn. So XP and salvage. First, I'll talk about the XP. Doing various things give you these needed experience points. Making kills, finding collectibles, and clearing tombs will all grant you this XP. Once you reach the required amount, you'll earn a skill point, which can be spent upon camping at any sites. The upgrades you can earn are based out of 3 different categories, which are Survivor, Hunter, and Brawler. Survivor skills are ones that will help you live longer, such as seeing enemies easier or retrieving arrows from corpses. Hunter skills allow you to increase your ammo capacity or aim your bow easier. Brawler skills allow you to counter your enemy's melee strikes easier and get bonus XP for it. Overall, each upgrade makes surviving just a bit easier, and there's no real order that you need to pick up the perks, so it's really completely up to you on how you want to improve Lara. As for salvage, it's used for making your weapons better. There are 4 classes of weaponry. These are bows, handguns, shotguns, and rifles. As you're looking around the world, you'll come across rickety wooden boxes. By breaking them open, you'll obtain this generic upgrade material. At campsites, you can opt to upgrade your weapons. Just like the upgrades, you can do them in any order. I should also mention that you can earn salvage by looting enemies and also any animals that you may have hunted. In addition, looting enemies gives you some ammo. It's a wise idea to loot everything that you find, because you may need the tools to succeed. Now, there is a small catch with upgrading that occurs with both Lara and her weapons. You have to put so many points into the weapons before getting the more powerful upgrades. For example, with Lara's skills, you can't get the most powerful abilities without spending points on the lower tiered ones. Once you spend the required points, it will unlock the next tier of skills. In addition, you can find weapon parts. These parts, once a whole set is obtained, can be used to completely upgrade your weapon. All modifications that you make will automatically be applied to the new build, so you're not losing anything. My suggestion would be that once you find all the parts in a set, upgrade your weapon immediately. Not only will you get better stats out of it, but it unlocks the next tier of upgrades for that class of weapon as well. Lara also gets use of an axe as a melee weapon. There will be enemies that get up close and personal with you, so you may opt to put the gun away. Pressing square allows you to take a swing, whereas circle allows you to evade attacks. If you have the right ability, you can evade, then time a quick time event to immediately dispatch an enemy. Of course, later in the game you deal with armored foes, so this isn't entirely effective, but you can still chip the health of an enemy away by doing this. So let me get to the actual gameplay. Once Lara gets ashore, she immediately gets attacked. She wakes up suspended from the ceiling, and has to get loose. You'll swing to light things on fire, which becomes a very common theme, especially during puzzles. She'll fall and gets injured right away. and it's pretty nasty. From here on out, Lara is fighting for her life. Once she gets out of the starting cavern, she knows that she has to find her friends and then find a way out. Overall, as I said, the game feels like an open-world Uncharted game. The island is a lush green forest for the most part, although you will be climbing plenty of rock walls as well. You choose where you want to go, although there are certain points you will need to pass in order to progress the story. I've already mentioned that there are certain equipment upgrades that you'll need to find, and those will also allow Lara to further proceed. As for combat, again, feels like Uncharted, so it's probably not anything you haven't seen before. It's more of all the other stuff in the game that makes it unique. One of these optional things is the tombs. There's about 8 or so, and they are hidden well in the world. There are no enemies in them, and are strictly puzzles that you need to solve. Once you do so, you're rewarded with a large chunk of XP and also some salvage. There's typically a collectible in those as well, even if it's only a journal. I'd recommend doing these because they're relatively easy as long as you take a good hard glance on how the tomb works. In addition, there's other challenges that you can try to complete. Each area of the island has a separate quest of sorts. One may have you finding small statues and lighting the fires in front of them. Another might be to break oil lamps. Again, this gives you more XP and another few points towards that 100% completion rating. So, let's say you get stuck in the game. You've cleared out all the thugs, looted them of all their valuables, and just have no idea where to go to next. What do? Well, pressing L2 activates what's called Survival Instincts. If you've ever played one of the Rocksteady Batman games, you'll see that it's very similar to the detective mode. The biggest difference is that the Survival Instincts only activates for a few seconds. This should be enough for you to see any glowing walls or objects that may need to be destroyed. In addition, you can use this ability to spot any animals or enemies. The more dangerous ones flash red, so you know where to take them out first. I mentioned that when evading enemies you may run into a QuickTime event. I will say that if you hate these things, you're going to despise parts of Tomb Raider. There's quite a few of them, and not only when trying to counter enemy attacks. There's some areas where Lara will be moving quickly through the world, whether it be from a landslide or water torrent or the such. There will be times where the prompt will come up, and if you fail, you die in a horrible and gruesome death animation. If you're squeamish, this game may not be entirely for you. You will see stuff like this all the time. Finally, I will say that the game is very long, which is awesome. Just when you think that the game is going to start wrapping up, the plot makes a turn and you have to just keep going. I think I completed the game in about 15 hours. Of course, you can do it in less if you opt not to look around for the extra items, but I will say that it's part of the fun to explore every nook of the island to see what you can find. Well, that's all I got, but I think part of that is writer's block too. Damn me for waiting so long to write this review after playing the game. But hell, that's my fault. Tomb Raider is an awesome reboot for this series, and one that I felt was very much needed. I know Rise of the Tomb Raider is out now, and eventually I'll find a way to play it. But for now, I'm satisfied with this Tomb Raider. If you're big into open world exploration games with ton of action and even some puzzles, this is a must play. Final score? 10 out of 10. This is Reaper. Happy fragging.